What's going on, friends? Good Sunday morning to you. Welcome back to College Sports Corner. College football started yesterday, although we didn't have too many exciting games. Hey, at least it's something to get us started, rolling into next Saturday where we're going to have a bunch of great games. A couple of decent ones yesterday, some blowouts too. We're going to go over all that here in a minute. First, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. We're going to go over some news here. We got a few items, not as many as we've had the last few shows, but we got a few things we could discuss here. So let's get started, all right? If you saw the Nebraska Northwestern game yesterday, I'm sure you saw the onside kick. A lot of people talking about that. Scott Frost says the failed onside kick is on him. Okay. Didn't understand why they did it. I mean, we can question coach decisions all day long on Sunday and Monday at work, and a lot of times they do things that just don't make sense. This didn't make sense. In case you didn't see the game or even hear about it, midway through the third quarter, Nebraska has an 11-point lead. They had just scored. They're going to kick off. They decided to do an onside kick. Didn't go well. And Northwestern recovered it and scored 5 plays later. So, anyway, Scott Frost says it's on me. So, his, I don't want to say exactly last year just yet, but his possible last year did not start off well. So, I mean, you never know what could happen. The guy might rip off a win. He might win every game the rest of the season. You just never know what happens in college football. But either way, this year did not start off good. So he took the blame for it, stood up there like a man, took the blame for it. So kind of admire him for that. Let's see. Oh, and also, if you were at that game, do you already know this? You got free beer and food. And that's right, because evidently the internet went down that stadium in Ireland. And I guess they couldn't make transactions and all that stuff. People couldn't get online, make phone calls, whatever they needed to do. So the stadium said, hey, sorry about that. We'll give you free beer and food. Pretty cool. Don't think that would happen here in America, but I don't know. 2 different countries. Duke names Riley Leonard starting quarterback. I believe they play Temple this weekend. Texas A&M, they said Haynes King is going to be their starting quarterback. Who he started last year and then got injured, and Calzada had to take over the rest of the year. Michigan, this is kind of weird, if this is even true, because who knows what Jim Harbaugh is really thinking, or what he's telling you is true or not. He says he won't name McNamara or McCarthy starting quarterback until they each start a game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if Harbaugh's screwing with us like he likes to. But anyway, that's what he says. Man, some suck news here. Cal loses defensive lineman Brett Johnson for the 2nd straight season with a lower body injury. Man, guy can't catch a break. That sucks right before the season starts again. So get well, Brett Johnson, man. Feel for you, brother. Some weird stuff at Auburn. Windows stuff at Auburn. Weird stuff not happening. Alan Green, the AD, he exits a week before the season starts. He was hired in 2018, I believe, if I remember right. He came from Buffalo. His deal was to end next January. So evidently he went to Auburn and said, hey, what's going on with my deal here? It's going to end in like 5 months. And they said, well, we'll wait till the end of the season, or in the football season. We'll evaluate it. And I guess Green didn't like that because he said, all right, well, I'll just negotiate leaving now. It's like, all right. I mean, like we said, it's college football, you never know. Auburn might go 10-2 or something. Who knows? I don't know. I don't get it, but maybe more behind the scenes that we don't know about, because let's face it, Auburn has some issues there, here and there, and they always seem to come to light. They can never just be smooth for a year. There's always got something that's got to happen. I'm not knocking your school, Auburn fans. It's just the way it is. I mean, they'll even tell you on national media, on TV, that things just can't go smooth for a year at Auburn. So, I don't know. Some basketball news. Barry Sanders' son, Nicholas, he walked on at Michigan State. and he will wear the number 20 jersey that his father used to wear. So that's pretty cool. See how he does. And the Big Ten has reached a 7-year deal with CBS for their basketball. I think it's good. I like their basketball coverage. So that's good. That's good. I mean, some people might not like it. I'm happy with it. No problem. Okay, let's get down to the games we had yesterday. Like we said, nothing spectacular. Some interesting ones: Nebraska, Northwestern, Wyoming, Illinois. And then some teams are trying to bounce back. North Carolina, Florida State played yesterday, Vanderbilt. So let's go over these real quick. The first one of the college football season. Western Kentucky 38. Austin Peay, I guess that's how you say it, 27. This is actually a 21-20 game heading into halftime. But Western Kentucky outscored Austin Peay 17-7 in the fourth quarter. So for Western Kentucky, Austin Reed, quarterback, 20 for 34, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Wide receiver Malachi Carley, 5 catches, 61 yards, 3 touchdowns, not too bad. Upton Stout, 34-yard touchdown interception return. And before the game even started yesterday, the broadcasters were saying, if you like scoring, watch this game. And they were right. There's a lot of scoring in this game. Austin Peay, quarterback Mike DeLello, I think that's how you say his name. 15 for 21, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he was sacked 5 times by the Hilltopper defense. But he did also rush for 31 yards and rushed in a touchdown. Wide receiver Jay McCray, 6 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kicker Maddox Trusilla, 41 and a 49-yard field goal. He kicked 9 points total, counting the extra points. So Western Kentucky wins that one by 11 points. Okay, here we go. Northwestern 31, Nebraska 28. I remember going to this game. The national media was making a big deal about quarterbacks in this game, how the quarterback play was going to be. I thought through the whole game, Helinski and Thompson played great. Thompson kind of fell off there in the second half a little bit. The offensive lines played great, protecting them. And there's some questions, well, not really questions, but a lot of the media were saying that Northwestern quarterback not sure about, so they're going to have to rely on their run game this season a lot. Well, Northwestern probably looked about as balanced as a team can be. They had great quarterback play, great running backs. They just played an all-around great game. Maybe they won because of a couple lucky breaks. Nebraska, Casey Thompson ended up throwing 2 picks, if I remember right, and then the whole onside kick, crazy-ass stuff. So, yeah, some breaks fell away, but as we all know, if you're going to win, sometimes you got to have breaks fall your way, and they did in Northwestern's case yesterday. But I was really impressed with both quarterbacks and both offensive lines. I think Nebraska's going to be okay with Casey Thompson. He's a pretty good quarterback. He was a good quarterback last year at Texas. He looked good yesterday. Like I said, except toward the second half, he started falling off a little bit. But, if the coaching staff can get their heads out of there, you know what, and coach his team right with Casey Thompson, you don't know what, who knows what they can do. Anyway, all right. Wildcats, Ryan Helinski, he was 27 for 38, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns. Running back Evan Hull, 22 carries for 119 yards and a touchdown. Cam Porter, 19 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. Wide receivers Raymond Nero and Danny Navarro each had TD catches. And kicker Adam Stage was responsible for 7 points. Nebraska, Casey Thompson, 25 for 42, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. He also rushed for a touchdown, so he didn't look all that bad. 25 for 42. I didn't have his total yards down there for Casey Thompson, but I know they were good because I want to say they were almost over 100 come halftime. But anyway, he has some good yards. Running back Anthony Grant, 19 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Garcia Castaneda, 4 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. Like we said, both quarterbacks, no lines, played well. Both punters, too. There's 2 or 3 times Northwestern pinned Nebraska way down inside the 5. And then Nebraska had a couple of long punts, too, that pinned Northwestern back. Let's see here. What else we got? Yeah, Nebraska had 3 turnovers. And then that questionable onside kick. Like we said, midway through the third, you got 11-point lead. I just don't know why you would do that. Anyway, Northwestern, 527 total yards. Nebraska, 464. So those offenses were putting down yards and points. So it was a good game. I enjoyed it. Okay, UNLV 52, Idaho State 21. UNLV was winning 45-7 at halftime. Doug Bromfeld for UNLV, 21 for 25, 356 yards and 4 touchdown passes. Adrian Robbins, 10 carries for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns and a touchdown catch. Ricky White, 8 catches for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. And kicker Daniel Gutierrez, he kicked 10 points in this game. For Idaho State, Tyler Vander, he went 7 for 13, 130 yards, touchdown, interception, sacked 5 times by UNLV's defense. Hunter Hayes came in. He threw a TD pass and he rushed for a TD. Xavier Guillory and Jalen Johnson each had touchdown catches for Idaho State. UNLV, total yards were 556 and Idaho State's was 233. This one here, I thought it was going to be a better game. Illinois 38, Wyoming 6. I wasn't sure if Wyoming was going to win, but I thought they would score more points than that and make it interesting, but they just did. Illinois started off, if you didn't see it, started off kind of sluggish in the first half. Second half, they finally started coming around and scoring points. So I figured if Wyoming was going to have a chance, they should start doing something that first half. They never did. And Illinois just started walking away with it in the second half. Tommy DeVito for Illinois, 27 for 37, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 19 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a TD catch. Chase Brown had a great day yesterday. Reggie Love rushed for a touchdown. Pat Bryant, 3 catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown catch. Kicker Caleb Griffin, he kicked 8 points. For Wyoming, Andrew Peasley, 5 for 20, 30 yards passing. But he did rush for 76. Titus Swain, 17 rushes for 98 yards. Joshua Cobbs, 2 catches for 14 yards. Kicker John Halen, 22-yard and a 46-yard field goal. Put their points on the board, gave Wyoming their 6 points. And, like we said, I know it's the first game and all, but sluggish is... That game yesterday, Illinois kind of reminded me of Iowa last year. Remember, Iowa would start off kind of slow and sluggish, and they would win. It finally caught up to them, I think, when they were ranked number 2. Who did they lose to at home? Purdue, I think it was last year. I knew it was going to finally catch up to them, and it did. So Brett Bielema needs to get them guys to start off faster than they did yesterday, especially when they get into Big Ten play, because that's going to get even tougher for them. So we'll see what happens. Utah State 31, UConn 20. UConn led this game 14-0 in the first half, or in the first quarter. It looked like a whole different UConn team. You can blame it on the first game, things trying to get worked out, but I don't think I've seen UConn play that well in, I don't know, gazillion years. So I think it shocked Utah State. Utah State finally said, enough of this. Anyway, Logan Bonner for Utah State, 20 for 29, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns. Badass day for him. Robert Briggs, 10 for 85 and a touchdown. Brian Cobbs, 7 catches, 78 yards and a touchdown. And Van Leeuwen and McGriff each had touchdown catches for Utah State. UConn's quarterback, Zion Turner, 12 for 31, 109 yards and a touchdown. Not too bad, but he threw 2 interceptions, so still, his numbers are okay. Taquan Robertson had a rushing TD. Keelan Marion had a TD catch. And kicker Noah Rulis, 46 and 54-yard field goal. Like I said, UConn was leading 14-0 in the first quarter. Utah State said enough of that. They scored 24 points in the second quarter. So they came out on top after a little, I don't know, scare or laziness, whatever. They might have just said, oh, it's UConn, they ain't no good. And after 14 points, they said, well, we better start playing. Florida State, 47. Duquesne, 7. Jordan Travis for Florida State, 11 for 15, 207 yards, 0 touchdowns, but he did rush for a touchdown. Trayshawn Ward, 14 rushes, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, though. Pretty good for him. Trey Benson, 11 rushes, 105 yards, and a touchdown. See who else. Lawrence Tofili, 13 rushes, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow, so you had Ward, Benson, and Tolef all rushed for over 100 yards. Wow. Rodney Hill, 55 receiving yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Kenton Poiter, 84 receiving yards. Kicker Ryan Fitzgerald, 11 points. Pretty good day for him. Duquesne's Joe Mishler, 7 for 17, 71 yards and a touchdown. Abil Janik, 44 receiving yards and a touchdown. FSU just seemed to ground and pound on that one. I mean, you have 3 runners for over 100 yards. Maybe that might be their niche this year. Ground and pound, run it the whole time. I mean, you got to eventually pass, but that could be their weapon right there. I know it's Duquesne, but hey, still. FSU's total yards was 638. Duquesne's was 164. Usually you see that in quarter and a half or a first half, but for the whole game, 164 yards. Florida Atlantic, 43. Charlotte, 13. Nakase Perry for Florida Atlantic, 16 for 22, 256 yards, touchdown, and he rushed for a touchdown also. Larry McCammon, 14 rushes, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Justin McKiffin, 64-yard interception return for a touchdown. Nice. Charlotte's Chris Reynolds, 14 for 19, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he was sacked twice. Shedrick Bird, 51 rushing yards and 14 carries. Grant DeBose, 4 catches for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns for Charlotte. FAU, 26 first downs in this game. Charlotte only had 11. North Carolina, trying to bounce back from that disappointing season. A year ago, they were ranked top 10, and within a couple of weeks proved why they shouldn't be ranked top 10. But, hey, they're trying to make good on this season. They beat Florida A&M 56-24. Drake May, North Carolina, 29 for 37, 294 yards, 5 touchdowns. Marion Hampton, 14 rushes, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. And John Downs, 9 catches, 78 yards for 2 touchdowns. Offense looked pretty good from what I saw. I really expected the defense to hold FAMU back a little bit, but they let them score 24 points. So, still. Quarterback Jeremy Mosa for FAMU, 28 for 38, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good night for him. But he did have an interception, and the Tar Heel defense got to him 3 times. Can't blame that all on him, offensive line. Jalen McLeod rushed for a TD. Trevante Davis and A.J. Davis each have receiving touchdowns. Total yards for North Carolina was 608. This sacked 3 times. Florida A&M, they ended up losing 28 yards due to sacks. So their offensive line might need to get a little work on. This one here in North Texas, 31, UTEP 13. That one was actually delayed about an hour because of weather. But I checked in on other games and stuff and put it back on. Finally, they were playing. Austin Own from North Texas, 16 for 29, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nice. Oscar Adaway, 23 rushing yards and a touchdown. Jake Roberts, Isaiah Johnson, Tommy Bush all had touchdown catches. For UTEP's Garvin Hardison, 21 for 48, 293 yards and a touchdown. Ronald Avett, 36 rushing yards. Tyron Smith, 7 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. It's 1 point game at halftime. And then North Texas started walking away with it in the second half. I was looking at the stats in this game, and most of them were pretty even between both teams. There were a few that were different, but yeah, it was a good game until about the second half, until North Texas started just slowly strolling away. Nevada 23, New Mexico State 12. Nevada, both quarterbacks were in there. Shane Illingsworth had 51 passing yards. Cox had 27 passing yards. No TDs. Devontae Lee, 61 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyrese Mack, 4 catches for 40 yards. Kicker Brandon, how you say his last name? Taltham, 11 points. Not too bad, huh? 11 points. New Mexico State's Gavin Frakes, 9 for 13, 143 yards and a touchdown. Diego Prava, 9 for 20, 75 yards and threw 3 interceptions. I didn't see who started this game, so I'm wondering if Pavia started it, wasn't doing well, and then they put in Frakes. Which, if that was the case, Frakes might be starting quarterback next game. But Prava, even though he threw those 3 interceptions, he was the top rusher for 36 yards. So, doesn't say a lot about their running game. Cordell David, he caught the touchdown pass, and New Mexico State actually scored a safety in this game. Helped them with their points a little bit. Let's see here. Nevada, 303 total yards. New Mexico State, 257. Both offenses got some work to do, and it's only going to get tougher. This one here, yeah, shocker to me. Really was a shocker. Vanderbilt, 63. Hawaii, 10. After the fiasco, the Todd Graham era there at Hawaii, and the hero quarterback Timmy Chang coming back to coach, I really figured that Hawaii would. I mean, it's just the first game, but I really figured it being Vanderbilt, Hawaii would give them a bigger fight, but they didn't. Lost by 53 points. So Vandy, they're on a high. The team's on a high right now. See how long that goes for, but yeah, kind of surprised me. Anyway, Mike Wright for Vanderbilt, 13 for 21, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 163 and 2 touchdowns. So this Mike Wright for Vanderbilt might be somebody to watch this year. I mean, I know it's against Hawaii, but hey, you only get better every game, and the more you win, your confidence grows. Keep an eye on this guy. We'll see what he does this year. Davis and Griffin rushed for TDs. Will Shepard, 3 catches, 39 yards for 2 touchdowns. Hawaii's Brandon Shager, 18 for 25, 161 yards. Joey Yellen, passed for 89 yards and no touchdowns. Let's see here. Dedrick Parson, 13 rushes for 82 yards and a touchdown. Fumbled twice, and Vandy scooped him up and scored on each one of those. So, let's see here. What else we got? Jonah Pinock, 7 catches, 101 yards for Hawaii. This game was 21-10 at the halftime. In the third quarter, Vandy came out and put 35 points up on Vandy in the third quarter alone. Vandy ended up with 601 total yards. So, yeah, keep an eye on Mike Wright. See what he does. I forget who they have coming up next. We'll go over that on Thursday when we go over the weekend schedule. But after what he did to Hawaii, hey, he can only get better and your confidence grows. We'll see what happens. And Hawaii, man, I don't know what to tell y'all. The FCS, they had some games yesterday. Alabama State 23, Howard 13. Demetrius Davis for Alabama State passed for 184 yards and a touchdown. Mercer evidently pissed off at Morehead State for some reason because they ended up beating them by 50 points. And Mercer actually had a 32-point lead at halftime. Fred Payton, 11 for 17, 248 yards, 4 touchdowns. Austin Douglas, 5 rushes, 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ty James, 5 catches, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Devin Harper, 2 catches, 35 yards on a touchdown. And 3 kickoff returns, equaling 123 yards. And one of them was a 93-yard run back for a touchdown. So, Devin Harper had a hell of a game. Morehead State, Grady Kramer, 16 for 24, 95 yards, touchdown, interception, sacked twice by Mercer. Chance Harris rushed for 60 yards. Kyle Daly, 5 catches, 36 yards, touchdown. And kicker Nathan Haslett, 7 points in this game. And one that a lot of people in the FCS crowd, which I'm a member of a couple of FCS Facebook pages, a lot of people were really looking forward to this one. Didn't really go in the way of a good game. But Jacksonville State, 42, Stephen F. Austin, 17. Jacksonville State's Webb, 9 for 15, 160 yards. Rushed for 3 touchdowns in this game. LaRouche, 90 yards rushing and a touchdown. And for Stephen F. Austin, Self went 14 for 29, 135 yards. He threw 2 touchdown passes. And Gibson and Simmons each caught touchdown passes for Stephen F. Austin, but they lost. So, for Saturday here, like I said, a couple good games. Nothing really spectacular. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to go over all those games on Thursday, which Thursday already got a couple good ones. One of them is Penn State at Purdue. A lot of the media are higher on Purdue right now. It'll be their first game, Penn State's first game, conference game, Thursday night prime time. I believe it's on Fox. And there was another one to keep an eye on Thursday night. Maybe in the old backyard brawl. I think that was on Thursday. Anyway, we'll be back Thursday. We'll go over those games, Fridays and Saturdays, preview all that. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's actually sunny out here. Man, y'all stay busy at work this week so we can get through this week quick and get to Thursday night. Anyway, be safe, have fun, enjoy your life. See ya.